with our lovely new moon come beautiful 5D ascension energies for the 5D collective of mystics and inner child adults, aka functional adults, aka mindfully living human beings, aka spiritually living, and so on and so forth. So, with that being said, our feminine and masculine harmonizing, it's really fun. And that lovely breakthrough energy that comes from dissolving, limiting consciousness beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, feelings. It is invigorating and rich of the energy of the breath of life and love. And so, this is where, thanks to you having claimed your whole self, and thanks to you being your whole 1 year old, you get to have authentic self expression, that temple of the truth, breakthrough energy, because you're consistently expanding from integration of the brain and restorative embodiment self. And in fact, you do know who you are with an open crown, open third eye, all your lovely main chakras for those of you who are aware of them. And remembering who you are, use your human name. Okay, so you get to come forth through your authentic self-expression in the words you use, the actions you take, the person you are, and your behaviors and thought patterns, and the relationships you create. In being yourself and living mindfully and or spiritually, you bring forth the infinite, higher human conscious potential experiences and life that your whole self, that inner child adult, knows is meaningful and has an impact in the world. Mindful living and or living a spiritual life involves having meaning beyond the solo self. It's because you own the self, okay? So that means no trauma charges, no shame buttons. It's an unconsciously loving, whole 3-year-old heart who has forgiveness in the forefront. And so you are, again, having meaning beyond the solo self and moving beyond limited belief systems and ways of thinking that keep people that are opposites apart, by the way. So you get to bring masculine, the mind, feminine, divine as I call them, because we have our left is masculine, the feminine is the right, but that's to be continued in another episode. I'm going to say is integration of brain, left and right working together, open heart, so mind, heart, body, harmony, and that's somatics. So your functional adult is, again, aka the inner child adult, that pure essence of consciousness and the pure essence of the energy body. So what you get is to connect with others and support them as they express and or reclaim their authentic self. You get to adapt a functional adult love language in your relationships and life. So that means equanimity, not the shaming stuff, blaming, faulting, the Cusco attitude. No Cusco. We have Pachas here. This means you have high mental and emotional intelligence, and you enjoy conversations and activities that embrace sciences and spirituality together. We don't use Lucifer demons and any of that or romanticize. There's proactive ways people can all move into their wholeness. And that goes beyond limiting beliefs and ways of thinking. So we are okay with our 3D, 4D collective. They're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, and we continue expanding. And so as a mindful and or spiritual person, you live inner and outer well-being, and you bring forth new ideas that impact the world, again, through words, actions, behaviors, and everything you choose to do, the mind, and be the heart and body in your everyday as yourself mindfully. Doesn't mean that people are going to like you. No, being a confident person, self-empowered woman, man, or they, and you meet a person who's not, they're going to bring up stuff because their body will. The consistent influx of breakthrough energy that your expanding state of consciousness can bring is thanks to your mind, heart, body in harmony as you bring forth and maintain integration and restorative embodiment in applying mindful mindset and mindset practices daily. That's what we get to do with the membership content, masterclass, one-to-one mentorship. Here I share stories and channel guidance messages and on our audio versions as well. So you apply these in your day-to-day. As life happens in your day-to-day and relationships, you stub your toe, you get to be focusing attention and awareness. So maximum certainty is cool because emotions, sensations are cool. They're not laundry like that Zen master. You are actively, resiliently building more of your restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating skills. So the balance between feminine and masculine and spirituality and sciences is in a constant new sweet spot. And that is what is moving us along our new 5D consciousness earth. It's very fun. And the 5D collective, we are between mystics and spiritual and mindfulness or not, but secular. We are people who are on board with embodying pure consciousness, so unconditional love, and on board with embodying pure energy, that whole self, 3-year-old, whole, open, loving heart. And we are all imperfect and flawed. But with integrity, we use equanimity and a functional adult love language that allows different people to come together as their authentic self, share with us who they are, and build enriching relationships and life experiences and moments. And so, no shame, no blame, no fault, no revenge, no adaptive child or maladaptive child patterns of behaviors or shame cycles or childhood wounds. Basically, that can be one, their projection, but that can use a good therapist so that they can heal. And then once they're ready to forgive and to be around functional adults, they will know. Okay, so mindful living in love means that you feel and are seen, soothed, safe, and secure. So you know self-regulation, safe haven, secure base. To be yourself, thanks to tapping into your infinite higher human conscious potential through, again, the body, heart, mind harmony that is created with your daily mindful mindset and mindset practices. So we learn how to wield the Ascension energies, the 5D ones, by applying spiritual self-help mindfulness, mindset practices, which is why our whole self and our energetic body is always in the awareness plane. It's not destabilizing. Uncertainty, unknowns, unexpecteds are not destabilizing our left and right. It's integrated brain, okay? And so your energetic body is yours, your physical, this is where mental, emotional, physical mastery for the 5D collective. And so your masculine energy, again, gives you the capacity to do, and you use the wisdom of the mind. The feminine gives you the energy to be and the wisdom of the body. And with an open heart, you've got a clear channel going on. So you wield your potential to create, again, inner and outer well-being in your everyday life and relationships, which means you experience love, bliss, delight, consistent enlightenment. It's very possible. Mind, heart, body, and the 24 hours are gifted because love is a constant, because it's unconditional, because it's present, because when you are yourself without shame, you're like, yeah, I'm going to make mistakes. Doesn't mean I need to feel defective. I don't feel defective. I know I'm imperfect and I'm a human. I'm going to make mistakes. I can learn from them. Okay, so that's the feminine and masculine harmonizing. It's the masculines that have a challenge with harmonizing their feminine. And then we have the ones who are not in any way, shape, or form feminines for a true feminine, and a true feminine knows about nurturing. And that's why the masculines, they always teach us in one way, shape, or form what it means if we don't notice. The ones who are linear, they are not all inclusive, okay? So they are exclusive. They actively don't like spectrums, the ones that are, oh no, they like all or nothing. So people who are doing all or nothing are adaptive child. And the adaptive child is the word I'm going to use because they're harsh, unforgiving, they're rigid. They are a child's version of what a grown-up should do, and usually there's a distorted lens, and there's a distorted lens because you're not noticing your Cusco attitude. So again, black and white thinking. There isn't all or nothing. Did nobody learn about gray? So flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brains, science and spirituality come together. And so exclusiveness is death. Inclusiveness is life. Now, what's interesting for a person of faith is that I already knew all this with God and Jesus in and of itself. I didn't need anything new. Once I got clairs, I knew that the group of closed-minded human beings from the medieval times would definitely be unappreciative of all of those that have clairs. But they are the same as spiritual gifts. The only difference is they didn't give their seal of approval. So technically, the only reason these groups that are divided is because of the desire to control, maintain, and use only 10 books instead of the 100 books. I'm an online marketer and I'm an online entrepreneur. Again, infinite higher human conscious potential people, we're not scared of information. Doesn't destabilize us. Oh, it also doesn't disprove. I'm using my left and right. The right mode allows for A, B, C, D, E, F, G to sit. And so we'll conclude with this. I had a lovely interaction with this human being as I was talking about what I do with mindful living, spiritual living as a 5D mystic. I'm a Reiki master, Akashic record reader. I'm a channeler. And I do things the 5D way, and I use 5D because of it. One being Christ consciousness, and I love Jesus. I come with Jesus. My first light body is my confirmation when I said yes to Jesus and the Holy Spirit, not to any of what I then continued to see and that I took up with the very God that I got taught about. And in that one moment, that was the only moment I had any sense of guilt. And as I was experiencing it, this is what it means to be mindfully aware with self as your own. And then faith is a feeling, it's not a belief, meaning it's not words. Words are the left mode. The right mode is what comes online in that first year of life, according to smart sciences people, unless you want to be a person that says, I don't believe it. Don't believe it. I know it's true because it's not a belief. There's data. There's quantitative data. So when people like to use that data wherever they want, I don't use data wherever I want. I know we have some data, and then some data no, and some data yet. Basically, I know that the way they're describing to me how the brain comes online is actual data, not pseudoscience. I'm the pseudoscience lady. Okay, so with that being said, integrating sciences and spirituality doesn't sit well with a rigid brain. There's a non-bilaterally integrated human being who's allowing their inner child, not an adult, their teenager attitude to come up. I'm used to teenagers. I was one. That's why I'm not surprised by those adolescents. They're just not growing any younger. So the 5D collective, on the other hand, we remain very much among the young at heart because our love affair is with life itself, for one. I got to have this honor again as I was growing up. And then every moment I get to share myself with another person is amazing, and the world. So the ones who don't want to be all inclusive, they're the ones who consistently navigate a left mode alone. Their right isn't on board because they cannot sit easily with two topics. It's like saying math and arts. They think that they don't come together, and they think wrong. But then again, they don't think wrong because to them they think right. Okay, they think wrong for a person who knows how to see two sides of the same coin. That actively, that's why when feminine and masculine harmonize, it's the most amazing of blends because they actively come from two ends of the opposite coin. And there's nothing more amazing than consciousness being able to experience itself because of it coming into form, which means it actively gives itself a different, I can say, like water. We know it's wet, right? It feels wet, but then again, I think they say there's no such sensation or something like that, but you feel depth. So to be young at heart is what I'm mental and emotional, intelligent, and that's what we are here, infinite higher human conscious potential experience. We expand always. So we're completely opening up to more every day by having a curious, open, accepting, loving brain because we're in the present. You're not destabilizing by any means. When somebody comes in with anything, I'm having a fun time. They actively have to be pissed off or something, and even then, I'm familiar with teenager is what I call the sympathetic when people don't know how to handle their own emotional depth. So we have emotional depth, and that's why La Vie en Rose, Young at Heart, those are two songs that came along. Michael Bublé, Young at Heart, if you want, channeled messages always, or sometimes, not always, they include songs. But as I was concluding, so for a left brainer is what I call the ones who don't get their right online. So they're not mindfully living. They are not mindfully living because in awareness, maximum uncertainty. So when unknowns, unexpecteds, and opposites come together, the rigid brain, the ones who get uncomfortable, that's when they're not comfortable with change. A person who's infinitely expanding consciously is not uncomfortable with anything. The fear is something that will be here, and that's for that physical attachment to life, and that's what we get to master as we continue. So I'm still mastering to be better when my panic attacks, for example, come about, or when I have one of those earthquakes, since I'm in an area, even that, waking up in the morning, not knowing if I'll be here, that is actively working with fear, but working with not sitting in the future, but trying to stay in the present. Okay, so one way, shape, or form, life is consistently giving us the opportunity to expand. So that's where with God, for me, it was I get consistently the opportunity to accept what is sent my way. And if I am of faith, I will accept. And then with Jesus as the example, I will be able to love. I will be able to expand. Okay, so the masculines, they're not all inclusive because they are leading with ego and the left. The feminines who are not all inclusive, they're leading with a distorted sense of self, and they become the squirrels from Cusco land. They actively think that they are meant to capture and hold people by a cord. And so we will continue in another episode. But in the meantime, let me just conclude with the example of people who are not with breakthrough energy. They don't have self-expression with authenticity. Their truth comes from a teenager that has limited beliefs and that are in a space of thinking that they know everything versus being curious about conversations and open to it. So I'm talking to somebody on personal development, self-help, mindfulness, spiritual, mystic, all my stuff that you hear here. And as I'm talking, I get interrupted by someone who says, "Excuse me, you're confusing sciences and spirituality." And I turn around, it's a person that I know, and I say, "No, I'm bringing them together." I say, "No, no, no, you say I'm a mystic too." Now, this is the unbridled self-expression, or basically it's adaptive child who's coming in not to have a conversation like a functional adult, meaning we're curious, we're open, we're wanting to share, chime in. No, coming in to correct you. Oh, that means you think you're right about something and that I'm wrong, which is actively why the second take is, okay, I know you didn't understand my words the first time. And when people say that I repeat myself, I do, because you didn't understand me the first time. So I'll be repeating myself until I figure out the love language of people. That's when, once you get to know how people work, for a person like me, I disengage from actively trying to expand on what I was trying to bring in the first place, because you're actively not hearing me with mindful listening. And it's not a big deal. I don't need the floor. I'm a 3-year-old who knows how to share. Okay, so all inclusiveness is not excluding, and we always remember we're all 3-year-olds who want to talk. So whether you're trying to be right or wrong, I don't give a shit, because I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I'm having a conversation. Okay, so your interruption to me is not rudeness, because one, I'm used to it personally, and I'm also enjoying people in general, and I'm enjoying a social moment, right? Okay, so they say, no, no, I'm a mystic too, Reiki practitioner as well. And I say, okay, maybe I didn't explain myself better. Let me try reformulating my sentence. And I say, this is what I do. I bring them together. I connect the dots. They all say the same thing. They just use different words. It's like song. It'll have a different tune, but okay. So basically, when you are a feeling first, and that's why faith, it's a feeling. It's not words. The Holy Spirit, the light body, all of that, Reiki, all energy. It's essence of love and life. Any person who is connected to that pure consciousness, because you're open-hearted and open-minded, and you are in a state of your physiological social engagement system with an integrated brain. So you're not scanning self and other. Your default mode network is downregulated. This is that integrated brain. So you're able to sit mindfully with the focused attention in awareness, not be destabilized by uncertainty, unexpected, unwanted, contradicting, whatever it is. You're not, oh my God, this makes me so upset. And the intention doesn't have to be kind, but kindness allows your body to know that it's okay. I like curiosity, because that makes Krishna Lila come in. I'm going to have fun. I also like humbleness, respect, remembering we're all flawed, because I'm a person too. So you choose what you're going to put in that intention box. And as you soften it up, it's because you're like, hey, ego, it's okay. We don't need to take the floor. We can share the floor. And that's why you are living mindfully, spiritually, meaning connection beyond the solo self, and socially in your social engagement system as your authentic self. So you keep on speaking your truth, and you're not being defensive. So I'm not being defensive towards this person. I'm actively curious. At the second point, I'm like, okay, now I want to know what they have to say, because they're a piece of consciousness like I am. Pure or not doesn't mean good or bad. It just means that I have the capacity to be unconditionally loving with my flaws, with the imperfections, and with what I will call integrity. That's not going to be something all people think I am, because they will have their own way of using integrity, morals. Oh, let's not go there. Not in this one, because I got plenty of stories for that. So on that note, this person, so second interruption. Now I'm curious. I actively will be curious when somebody presents to me an equation, because I know that I will never, me, Maria, be able to think whatever it is that's in their brain. I don't care if they're bullshitting me. I want to hear now what they have to say, because I'm a curious person. And I'm not offended, and I'm not competing, and I'm not in any of that. Okay, so actively I say, okay, I think what it is I do again, let me explain it to you. And now they're showing me their tattoos. See, no, I have physics too, quantum physics. I have Buddha here. And now I'm like, okay, this is really fun. So I said, okay, you know what? Let's do it this way. I can't explain to you what I'm trying to explain to you. How about you tell me what the outcome is so that I can see if we're on the same page? Because what a feminine will have gathered, thanks to all of those masculines that have feminine, though, okay, not the ones who are in the absence. The ones who are in the absence of their own feminine, they actively, let's just put it this way, Cusco, as he lies to Pacha, and as he then goes on to accuse Pacha of wanting not to help him. And so that's what a masculine without a feminine will do when they meet a feminine who has their own masculine, because they will lead completely in the absence of welcoming their self back home as the inner child comes up to engage and stuff like that. So that's for, again, another conversation. But in the meantime, the outcome was the same. We were both headed the same way. We're just talking about it differently. But the difference is I'm open to differences. That person is not. I'm open to bringing science and spirituality together. That person is not. I'm open because I'm a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable brain. And I'm a functional adult. That person is not. If you're coming in as an adaptive child or maladaptive, you're going to be rigid, harsh, unforgiving. You're going to keep thinking you're the best, you know the best. Whatever it is, it doesn't even matter, because your rigid posture will give it away. Your narrow state of consciousness, you're going to use shaming tone, you're going to use arrogant tone, you're going to be a person who falls for grandiosity, you're going to be a person who thinks you can teach integrity and decency to others. In the meantime, you lack the integrity, you lack the boundaries, you lack healthy self-worth. And a person like me will know, all my lovely regular listeners know about the one story of a human being who actively thinks they taught me courtesy. They didn't teach me courtesy. They taught me simply that they're a desperate, manipulative, porous, boundaryless human being man who is actively living in the lowest of lowest vibrations in general, that any person who wants to prance around actively flaunting their ego, and they are not able to know how, if in 3 years, 3 consecutive years, a human being, I'm just going to present some of it so that people who didn't hear the story, doesn't engage with you. I don't engage with you in small talk. I don't engage with you basically at all. I'm actively doing what it is. I don't want to get to know you. We frequent the same place, so I'm bound to see you, but I have no interest. The minute that I've consistently, in 3 years, I'm just saying, I think that's enough. And let's just remember that our herd, we do look at each other. So the lovely individual in question has another 2 herd members of their own that actively did not do what this person did, and what they think is teaching somebody else decency, or whatever they think has happened. So the equation and what I'm presenting is that's another type of masculine, and they are masculines, all of the ones who basically do not embrace their inner child, to feminine, that knows that a feminine is when you're open-hearted and open-minded and you have a good gut. It means you know healthy self-worth. So it means that you are not going to be friends with everyone. You're a grown human being, you won't be bothered, you won't even notice it. You actively won't notice it in a way of making it into a deal. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use me. I'm going to use me, because this is the part of where I have a story. I have a story to tell. So this human being thinks they taught me what it means to be polite. I, on the other hand, just know that I don't give a shit. Either way, they gave me an opportunity. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They gave me an opportunity to find myself using my lovely mindfulness practices, basically. So, and to have a moment, and to have 2 laughs, and then to have a story. So they actually offered me richness. I'm happy they have solace, where they think they taught me a lesson. So I have a person that today is a very good friend of mine. I love her to death. When we first started to get to know each other, I'm a hugger. This human being is not a hugger. And I noticed something with their body language a couple times after I had began making friends, which I thought she was totally cool with the hugs, and said she wasn't. And so what I noticed with my spy little eye was that it seemed her scurrying off. So it happened 2 or 3 times. And at a certain point in my head, I said, you know what? Maybe she doesn't like me. Maybe it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Everyone has a right to become and make friends with who they want. This was not personal, and I'm 44. So to me, as you're growing up, you like, it's okay. It's cool. That's what healthy self-worth women, men, and days do. It's not like, oh my God, I'm going to take it personally. So I didn't think too much of it. And eventually, I'm having a conversation with another one of our friends, and lo and behold, she speaks to the friend about how she doesn't enjoy touch because she's a spiritual person. So she's very aware of energy. And as she's saying that, my mind's like, okay, click. That's exactly what and I said, I am so sorry. I did not realize that you are sensitive and that I've been hugging you. Please forgive me. I did not mean to put you in an awkward position. I am so sorry, and so that's where we made the agreement. I said, you let me know if I can hug or not, and I won't hug you. And I'm so sorry again for having put you in that spot. And after that, we began to become friends, and now she hugs me. And so what I'm presenting to you is I didn't take offense. I didn't think, what a bullshit person. Do I prefer people who are not wanted? No, I love to hug people. But the part of being able to respect another person and then to know, oh, and they're not one of those people, like, how dare you hug me? That don't even get that one. Those are eggshell people. That one, I'm like, you know what? I'm so sorry. We're probably not going to be a great pair because, I like hugging. So see ya. Because that attitude is just as much of the poorest boundaryless as that other attitude is. It's not something that I want to engage in because they're going to actively be in that energy. It's the energy, the tone, it's all of it. And they think they know everything. So, expanding piece of consciousness. We love to love and we love to also appreciate. And we do appreciate differences. And when we have love, people will appreciate differences too. And so the person that I referred to, she was appreciative because I didn't take offense. And she was able to get out of her chest probably what she had been dying to try to tell me, but she didn't know how to just tell me to my face, which makes me sad. But I've noticed that's not the only person who doesn't know how to speak to my face. And that's where I have friends, long life friends. And then we're going to close this out. So the stories can accompany the messages you got to hear for our lovely new moon. Okay, so this one is a very close friend of mine, and we've known each other since I was about 15, I think, or maybe 14 or 15. So he's an asshole. He has a clown face. I did not talk to him for 5 years. After these 5 years, a bunch of things took place, and we'll get to that in some other of the stories for today and episodes because I have been looking to share more on masculine and feminine, and he's a great example of what happens to masculines with tarot moments. So, my friend, we got to clear out all of it, and one of the things that I specified to him, I said, don't bullshit me. Don't do formalities. Don't do political correctness. Don't bullshit me. I thought you were somebody who knew how to tell me to my face things. So tell me to my face. That's all I'm asking. Be yourself. Speak shit to my face. Cool? Okay. So one of the things that I made sure to specify, 2-3 years move along, and we're out, and my clairs are expanding. I'm at Twin Flame 3. If I remember correctly, or for sure by now I'm at Twin Flame 2 and I'm channeling and all this stuff. So he consistently knows about what's going on because he's like a family friend. He's one of those. So the coffee cup reading, all of it. Okay. And as he's talking with other people and we're engaging in conversation about God, about mysticism, about spirituality, lo and behold, he, with a lot of full right here, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in spirituality. I don't believe in anything. And I'm hearing this for the first time in the years of my knowing him, but also just, many moments shared on mysticism, spirituality. So I'm upset. My friend actively pisses me off. But see, he's I'm happy that it's with him because he's taught me how to not really be pissed off because I won't be able to correct a person who doesn't know how to talk to my face and who's actively, not only have we known each other for eons, but you actively think you're being politically correct or somehow you're doing me some favor. So you from in here are holding yourself back to tell me a truth, which I am now aware of in the most uncomfortable and annoying of ways. Because why? Because I share moments with you, and those moments are meant to be meaningful beyond the solo self. And if you're not interested in these topics, then I can talk about other topics. And that way we can make good use of our time together because time is of the essence. And we don't have to spend it on something you don't believe in. But furthermore, you didn't tell me the truth to my face. And I've been talking to you about topics that you have no interest in, which annoys me because, again, I don't have to share with you something that you will not be enriched by because it's enriching me, but it's not enriching you. And that's where those scales, therefore, are not actively genuine, if you will. So meaningful connections, they strengthen as we share interests, as we share emotions, not only one of the two. Okay, so to a person who is rich and authentic, a person who doesn't know how to tell you they're not enriched by something is going to be something you don't want to involve and engage in. I don't enjoy engaging in conversations with topics that are of uninterest to people because I don't want to be around something that is going to be completely flat, but I'll be able to say I don't know enough about it, or at a certain point I'll say, I want to go. There's ways that you can try and allow yourself to recalibrate. I've done this before in conversations while we're respecting each other's tango, because we always can find something that everyone's interested in. And so my friend, we get in the car and I just chew them out. And in that chewing them out, though, I just said, I told you to just be straight with me. What the fuck? I find out you don't believe in any of it. Why have you had me talking about things you have no interest in? This is a waste of our time together because we're talking about something you don't have interest in. And they didn't have an answer. I expanded, though, by understanding people don't know how to tell you what is basically, here's who I am. So when you learn that enough of those people out there, like even the person who didn't know how to tell me, can you please not hug me? Of course, they could have come across rude. That's where some people would be like, that's so rude. The part about rudeness is for an empowered woman, man, or they, nobody's rude. The functional adults, we know that we are all people. That's why it's not going to be rude. It's biological rudeness if we meet a Cusco, but we're not considering anyone who doesn't know how to be their authentic self rude. Those who are here where I'm coming from, and the Enlightenment Soul Age group, by the way. So yourself is whole, you're authentic. I know some of you are here, some of you might not be here, but we'll be back again with more. The Ascension energies are always bringing you the opportunity to become more of the essence of love and life that you are. So your emotions and thoughts, you expand consciously, more open-heartedness, more open-mindedness, and we don't get lost because information is not confusing. It's okay for them to touch. We have a right mode and it works really great, and our ego self is not bothered by anything. There's no ego death. Your ego's still here, it doesn't die. Dark night of soul, again, that's for the people who don't know how to build mindful moments as they're going through the expansion of consciousness. Selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness is when you have some destabilization, and richness, integration of the brain equals you having new neural synapses connect and da 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 da. So there is a process, which is why you don't speed it up either. So again, we'll be back with some more messages and some more chit chat on spiritual self-help, mindful living, and love, and functional adult love language, and our beautiful inner child adult relationships. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Feminine and Masculines Harmonizing is a really, really great place to be right now. So see you again in a little bit.